dear learners. I am Madhuri Huda from Department of Education, Maharishi Darwin University, Rohtak. With the greetings of the day, let us start our today's session. Today we are going to discuss qualitative data and its analysis in detail. The learning objective of this module will be the learners will be able to know and understand the meaning of qualitative data and its sources. They will be able to understand and organize qualitative data. They will be able to understand and explain various techniques for analyzing and qualitative data like content analysis, inductive analysis and logical analysis. So first of all, we will discuss what qualitative data is. Qualitative data is verbal or symbolic material written or spoken. It may be the description of observed behavior of people, detailed description about the situations and events, responses of open-ended questionnaires, notes about the people's experiences, beliefs, ideologies, text from the documents, case studies, contents of the letters, diaries, and autobiographies. Data in qualitative form is detailed description about people's experiences. The ideology of this data is based upon inductive approach with a focus on specific situation, organizations, group of people or cases. The methods of analyzing qualitative data includes collection of personal experiences of people, interpretations and implications rather than collection of numerical figures. It assumes that each case is special and unique because these are rich sources of information and illumination. Qualitative data is the result of researchers' direct contact with the people and the situations. Although the qualitative data is detailed and comprehensive, but the content of qualitative data may not be systematic and standardized. Qualitative data analysis and interpretation help in understanding the complexities of the situation. Physical artifacts also provide data about the phenomenon under study. These artifacts may be observed as objects by use of observation technique and may be collected. These may be work of art, photographs or tools or the devices. Now let us discuss the organization of qualitative data. Qualitative data collected by using the above discussed sources like observation, open-ended questionnaires, text from the documents and in-depth interview is mostly voluminous and not systematic. It needs proper organization into particular patterns, categories and units. Before classification into patterns and categories, the data should be replicated into some Xerox copies so that one copy can be kept into safe for any further reference because the qualitative data is priceless and unique. And in case of any loss of data, it is not possible to re-observe the event. Now let us discuss analysis and interpretation of qualitative data. Analyzing and interpretation of qualitative data follows a holistic perspective and it is like studying the real world situation as they unfold naturally. The data is studied from multiple perspectives and inherent facts are revealed after it. The techniques used for analysis and interpretation of qualitative data are content analysis, inductive analysis and logical analysis. First of all, let us discuss content analysis. In classification, organization and comparison of the content in the form of verbal or written text in document or communication is called content analysis. It's a procedure which involves objective, systematic and quantitative description of any symbolic behavior. As it is related with classification, evaluation and comparison of the content of a document, it is also known as documentary activity. The content which is analyzed may be the responses of open-ended questionnaires, content of conversation of an interview and the content of description of an observed incident. The content may also be in the form of content of office records, autobiographies and textbooks etc. For doing content analysis, three main approaches may be followed. First is by studying the characteristics of the content. Second is by studying the cause of the content or studying the producing factor of the content. And third is studying the effect of the content. First, let us discuss the first approach, that is studying the characteristics of the content. In this approach, nature and form of the content is studied. As per Belson and Cartwright, which stated in 1917, there are 6 uses which are related with the substantive characteristics of the content. In the first 2 uses, the investigator tries to explore the trends in the content over a period of time. For example, the investigator explores what are trends in the content of the article on the concept of lifelong learning in the Indian context, appearing in various surveys of research. In the next 2 uses, the investigator intends to compare the content from various sources. For example, comparing any content on a particular theme from cross-national point of view. Such type of comparisons gives a good insight about the understanding of the national differences also. In the 5th use, the investigator may explore the role of different mass media in changing public opinion. For example, the researcher studies the role of NGOs in national literacy mission and further studies which media like newspaper, TV, radio or social media favors more the role of NGO in national literacy mission. In the 6th use, the researcher analyzes and evaluates the content against the criteria adopted for its usefulness. For example, the investigator studies to evaluate the social contribution of the media of communication. All the above 6 uses were related with the nature of the content. There are 3 more uses related to the form of the content. First is the analysis of the propaganda of the content material. For example, the analysis of the content of the propaganda of British and German in World War I by Laswell indicated that the British stressed humanitarian ideals more than the Germans. In the second use, the investigator checks the readability of the content material. Difficulty and ease of comprehension of the content material is evaluated under this point. For example, the communicated content of the textbook is evaluated against the mental ability and age of the learners. Then the third use, under the form of the content is studied for discovering the stylistic features in the literary content. Then we will study the second point, that is studying the producing factor or studying the cause of the communication content. In this approach, the producer of the communication content or the causing factor is studied by investigating the communication content. In this approach, there are 4 uses of content analysis by which communicator studies from his or her product. The first use is utilized where the intentions and attitudes of the communicators have been inferred from the analysis of the content of their product. For example, study of the speeches made by the various speakers at various occasions give an insight about their intentions and their attitudes. Second use is assessment of psychological state of a person by studying the content of the clinical interviews of him, diaries, autobiographies and her written letters. The other 2 uses under this part are to explore and compare propagandas. The content analysis of various communication material indicate the underlying propagandas. Third aspect is studying the effect of the content. In this approach, effect of the content is revealed after studying the content. The characteristics of the audience of the reader are also revealed after analyzing the content for which it was developed or written. This approach is illustrated with the use of the 3 uses. In the first use, analysis of content of mass media is based upon the assumption that the content communicated by these media reflects the feelings and thoughts of the people of that time and area. Next is, in the second use, it is assumed that in the particular theme, if a particular theme is prominent in mass media at a particular time, then that theme will be significant for the public at that time. For example, daytime TV programs focus more on personal affairs, while evening time TV programs focus on public affairs. And in the third use, communication content is analyzed to describe attitudinal and behavioral responses as an effect of the content. The investigator may study the published responses and the reactions to a book. Now let us discuss the procedure of content analysis. Let us discuss the steps involved in content analysis process. First is defining the unit of the analysis. The very first step is defining the unit of the analysis. The unit may be a single word, or it may be a phrase or a sentence or even a complete book. All of this may be the unit of analysis. The unit should be as comprehensive enough to provide some meaning, but should be small enough to not allow the subjectivity. Second is specification of variables and the categories. For converting symbolic matter and text into objective data, it is necessary to specify the variables in a reference of the descriptions to be made. The variables are sort of dimensions or type of characteristics or attributes which the researcher looks for. After the selection and specification of the variables are further broken into categories like high, low and moderate. Explicit rules need to be framed that help in deciding that which feature of the content help in classifying it to be in that particular category. A particular agreed system of coding is required in order to enhance objectivity. In the process of developing operational definition, the units are designed as recoding units and content unit. The recoding unit is the specific segment of the content which has some specific features to be included in a particular category, whereas the content unit is a large body of content which is examined to identify the recording unit. Other important things which need to be mentioned here are the indicators that determine whether the unit under study should fall in which category. The third aspect is frequency, direction and the intensity. Once the unit is defined, variables and the further categories are defined and described, then the analysis will go further in the direction of classification of units according to the frequency, direction and the intensity. Frequency is the number of units falling in each category. Direction refers to whether the reference was favorable, unfavorable or neutral. And the intensity is the depth of the emotional impact of the units analyzed. Then contingency analysis. Contingency analysis is the consideration of the content within which the recording unit lies. Agreement or disagreement of the recording unit is seen with respect to the remaining content. And then sampling. The unit which a researcher analyzes must be representative of the whole communication content, which is the population. Second is inductive analysis. In such type of analysis, the researcher looks for natural variation in the data. Study of this natural variation gives various patterns, things and categories of the analysis. The inductive analysis methods involve two approaches, indigenous typologies and the analyst constructed typologies. Indigenous typologies approach is also called amic approach to analysis. In this approach, in order to understand the thoughts and views of a particular group of people, whole analysis and categorization should be based on the concepts generated by the group of people. The verbal categories used by this group of people are labeled and then names are given. After it, the next step is identification and listing of the attributes that separate one from the other. Whereas in analyst constructed typologies approach, the investigator look for categories, patterns and themes for which the participants or this particular group of people do not have terms, and the investigator himself construct the typologies to explain the variations. The investigator need to take care that such constructed typologies are accurate. This conversion of the text based on the observation and the field notes into systematic categories and uses the principle of convergence and divergence by figuring out what fits together and what fits separate. Then logical analysis. Logical analysis aims at generating potential categories by crossing one type of typology with other type of typology, and then leads to a new type of typology. This use of cross classification matrices must be on careful procedure. So dear learners, now let us sum up what we have discussed in this video. We discussed and learned throughout this video the concept of qualitative data, its sources. We also discussed the meaning of organization of this type of data. Then we discussed the techniques of analyzing and interpreting the qualitative data. These were the content analysis, inductive analysis and logical analysis. I hope you enjoyed this learning session. Thank you.